We're live now. All right. So,
Cool.
give them about 2 minutes of that stuff. Hang on.
Yeah. To see the lovely snow outside
That looks
here.
pretty. That looks pretty deep to me.
It's very deep, Todd. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like it's a good 3 feet deep, man. What is that?
This is Quebec. This is the great outdoors, man.
Yeah, that's pretty. It actually is. I actually don't mind the snow. I just
I love the snow, dude.
I don't mind the snow. I never saw snow till I was like 38 years old.
But I got to come inside because I'm in bare feet.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm in bare feet, so it's cold. So I'm going to walk back inside now.
Well,
it's my native side, right? I'm half Mohawk, so I'm used to chilling in the snow sometimes with barely any clothes on or half naked.
Yeah, man, that's insane. That's crazy. What's going on here? Okay. Oh, we got some people in the house. I just can't get it to come up on my screen. Oh, here we go. Yeah,
cool, bro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we got a good shot of the Great White North. Okay. All right, man.
Man, I got snow on my computer. Well, let me take this on.
Slavager Norway's in the house. Aline's in the house. Anna Maria from Romania. Nadine Neary Baker. Debrielle. Jessica Woods. Jeff, my homeboy Jeff from Irving, Texas, is in the house. Big love to Jeff. Big inspiration. Richard Lowry, Debbie Pallone, Jody Lee's here. Richie Dukes is here. This is going to be an interesting show. Starling's here. Star, I sent you a message. I think I did. I know. I think I sent one to her yesterday. Frederica's in the house. Kelly B. Sparkman from Georgia. Cindy Sinclair from Mount Shasta. Kel Fowler from Utah. All right. So, he's in his Burt Reynolds pose, man.
Yeah, I'm chilling. It's an ashram I'm staying at.
Oh yeah,
it's a yoga ashram in Quebec.
Yeah,
and it was started by a group of people from India. They came into the country of Canada and started a huge, massive yoga practice with 40, 50 ashrams all around the world. And this one here just happens to be one of them.
Do they have one in anywhere near Kapa'a, Kauai?
Yeah, they got them. This. I'm just going to turn my volume up for a second. This was the one I was telling you about in New York. Remember? I go, hey, Ty, go check out the.
Yeah. I talked to them. That wasn't going to resonate with me. Yeah, but it's cool. To each their own. I'm excited about this show because we haven't talked in a long time. And you sent me that.
No, you know what, Todd? It's actually good to see you again, bro.
Yeah, it's good to see you, man. It's been a lot go on. There's been a lot go on. And I know you're sensitive to the energies. And I was really interested in. Well, for those of you who don't know, Stephen Aube has been out. I saw him. Let's see. I came on the streets 5 years ago. Is that right? 13. Yeah, 6 years ago. And so one of the first people I saw was Stephen. My friend Aline introduced me to him, and he was doing stuff that people weren't talking about at the time. He was a man talking about being celibate. I was like, what's he talking about? I was like, I'm celibate. I didn't want to be celibate, but I was celibate. But so it was like some cutting edge stuff, right? And so we did a series. We did a few things on the goddess, the lunar calendar, all revolving around the goddess. But so he sent me a note. We hadn't been able to hook up for a while. He was in Romania, and he was trapped. He was an outlaw. He wasn't allowed back into several different countries. Now he's got some of that cleared up. And so
they wouldn't let me leave Romania.
That's what's happening here. Everybody wants to come.
You can check out anytime you like, but you can't never leave.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get out of this place. Everybody wants to come here, you know.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go work on putting that wall up so I can just, have easy egress. I'll just be working on the wall one day and just disappear. Maybe I can change identities with somebody in Mexico. All right, but so I thought it was interesting because Stephen had a different perspective, a unique perspective, a well researched, well versed perspective on the goddess thing, and which has been coming to the forefront. And so he sends me a note, and he's talking about he went through this period, which a lot of people did. I mean, a lot of people have gone through a lot of stuff since the 1st of January, and really since the solstice. And I have seen and experienced personally, and seen collectively, dimensionally, whatever, the rise of the sacred masculine, like the no bullshit rise, like this is starting to get real. So he sends me this note, and I said, well, send me the text because I don't have the message with me. So he wants to talk about healthy patriarch, new templates for the brotherhood, heart awakenings, and preparation for 2020. And then he sends me this poem. He said, this poem pretty much sums it up. Snakes unwind, set ablaze, heart chakra open, cosmic trigger undone, all of man will come. The opening indeed is quite profound. My devotion, she has been before raised by
Ka.
1,000 years ago. The garden opened to my splendor among the fright of humanity. My light becomes mighty for the fair-haired lady. Her eternal fire lit active, my sacred heart emphatically forever. I am both a traveler of time and space. All may be revealed. 2019 Ascenis put in order. Brotherhood unites 2020 endeavor. So very good, very, very, very good.
Do you write
like
poetry,
that.
Todd?
Oh, I write boatloads of it.
Yeah, man. Like you're very fluid with your speaking around that.
Oh yeah. I write boatloads of poetry. I don't do as much anymore, but yeah, I still recycle stuff. But anyway, one of the things that struck me about this was the Ascend.
The Essenes, yes.
Essenes. Okay, I never can say these names right. And the thing is the Essenes, from the very first, and this is just on a personal level, from the very first things that came to me, it was all about the Essenes. It was about Jesus. It was about some other ascendeds, and then it's always remained that way. Recently, a couple of 2-3 months ago, Judith Kuzel, a lot of people call her Judith Cassell, but now I know her name is Judith Kuzel because we just did our 3rd show the other day. She does soul readings, and she did mine, as a gift, and it was excellent. Really, a lot of people I know have gotten them from her. But anyway, she talked about it too. So, and there's something about the Essenes too that I've had through transmissions that's connected to Star Family, like the Gnostics, like that stuff from the Essenes and the Gnostics came from a specific galactic lineage. Like I don't know exactly what it is. I have received some stuff, and I have a feeling what it is. So I think. Let me ask you this: I don't know why you mentioned the Essenes in that poem, but to me, I was going to ask you. But to me, the Essenes seem to be tied to protecting the sisterhood, the Gnostics, protecting the hidden knowledge, the sacred wisdom that the feminine carried, and it seems to be like tied to the Great White Brotherhood and to very much a masculine kind of thing. Masculine in service to, if that, for lack of a better word, in service to, at least in this realm, the feminine and protecting the hidden knowledge. So
That's exactly right, Todd. You're, and I stumbled upon it from more of a galactic side of thing, from the Great White Brotherhood, the Council, the Council of Nine, from those 9 particular stars and the constellation. It led me to Egypt, and this is where I was hanging out with the Bedouins in the St. Catherine and the Mount Sinai area, around where they found those scrolls. And I lived up in the mountains, close to Moses Mountain, and I picked over 42 different species of plants. And each plant that I picked along the mountainside, I would drink them, and I would categorize what type of detox or what it was actually doing in my body. Long story short, when I was consuming, and not all those plants were hallucinogenic, to be honest, none of them were. I started to feel that part of my process was going to be revolving around the sisterhood, but not involved with the sisterhood, but more of a supporter of it. I went deeper into that in the Philae Temple of Isis in Egypt when I was studying the hieroglyphics there too, that I saw a lot of and part of my background is archaeoastronomy and botanicals. That's why I was in those areas in the first place. But what I noticed in the Isis temple was that a lot of the carvings and a lot of the things there were revolving around the women feeding men, but men protecting the women. I hit a spot in my life where I did the Camino de Santiago, a pilgrimage in Spain, and I've been following that whole order of the Great White Brotherhood, but as far as protectors of the sisterhood, and it hit a peak for me when I discovered the Templars, and when I was connecting with that whole energy in Spain, though. A specific trail that Arthur and his crew came to. And it reminded me of a story with an angel by the name of Uriel. And Uriel is a specific alchemical angel. He has a sword that alchemizes masculine bodies to prepare them for the support of the sisterhood. And that's very similar with the story of King Arthur pulling the stone out of the sword out of the stone, Guinevere coming and supporting him, and him kind of supporting that sisterhood and that realm of the goddess, of the earth people, of the frequency of Lemuria, but being very grounded within the Atlanteans. Now, all of that, all my studies led me back here to just before I came here to Quebec. And Quebec's very native lands, so I'm familiar with a lot of, because I have that native blood in me, Mohawk. I'm familiar with the ways of the red man and how gender roles work between a man and a woman within these native tribes. The interesting thing, and this comes back to just the ending that you were reading about, the rise of the Essene energy again. We only have one more year before 2020 kicks in. And in order for men to prepare that, because a lot of these women are going to be waking up a lot quicker now, and they're starting to reach out for mature and evolved men that know how to handle that frequency or that aura when she starts to expand. Now, most of us are living between left hemispheres and right hemispheres of the brain. And men have a unique system where we have another brain that's located between our legs. And the reason why a lot of men don't want to use that brain between their legs, your ligum or your testicles, your penis, whatever you want to give a name to it, is because we're afraid of the power of it and the way that it's been used irresponsibly. When you learn how to stay out of those left or right brain frequencies and come to the brain between a man's legs from a masculine perspective, then we're able to navigate our reality in a way that's healthy, empowering, and supportive for women. So it's more about living a life passionately than sexually.
Yeah.
Sexual incantations are more biological, where spiritual are more love-based frequencies. And in order to come into a love-based frequency through sexuality, is you need to have control of what's going on between our legs. Women have a similar system. Theirs is just tucked up inside. So yeah. Women have the ovaries, they have the clitoris that sticks out a little bit between their legs, but men is more direct in that way because all of our second brain, our extremities are outside of us, where the women's are inside of her, more or less.
Yeah. Yeah. It's timely. And I just want to point out, and I'm living all this right now. Everybody knows I'm in a divine conscious union. I'm in a sacred sexual vibration, sacred sexual energetic path. And it's nothing like where we came from. And I'm speaking to the men and even to the women. Uh, it's a very, very powerful thing. So when you're talking about what you're talking about with the man and the two brains, you're talking energy. You're talking lifestyle. You're talking it's a powerful, powerful thing. This stuff is incredibly activating, magical. There's no question about it. And our lingam is much more than you could ever imagine. Uh, it's far more than just a physical apparatus, right? But I think it's very timely what you're talking about. I just wanted to make it clear because it's a new language for men. To understand that they are these magical beings that have this incredible power. Uh, yeah, yeah, it really is. Now, I want to ask you. So, what happened to you? What precipitated the message, and what did you experience that was fresh and new that you referenced in the message to me?
Well, as you're aware, most of my field of expertise or what I was working with was around training women,
Mm-hmm.
training them into priestesses, helping them with their lunar cycles, finding that natural flow, teaching them how to work with the man's body properly. Of course, I was on the receiving end of it. It came to a point, it was like I woke up a month ago because while I was playing that role, I just assumed that I was more mature or acting like a king within that specific phase. But it dawned on me that if I'm going to be a leader, if I want some solid brothers within the court, within an inner circle that I have around, that I need to be focusing on the men more and training them. And over the years, for the past 10 years, as I've been working with these different women, not like a lot of women, just very selective women that had a big importance in the world, women that were about to create something big, women that were about to create a big shift within themselves. So I was very selective of who I worked with within that celibate state, and the only time I would enter in a sexual relation is if there was something that was really going to be built from it, or else I just wouldn't go into it. But the shift came where I sat back and I went, oh my God, like I was in a prince phase while I was doing that. Because if I was really in the phase of a kingship or being an mature man, I would be going towards the brotherhood more and bringing them within my circle and initiating and sharing them some of these arts, how to deal with frontal lobe activations with the women, how to deal with the women's cycles. And here I am the whole time dealing with women because, to be quite honest, I got to a point where I excelled so much on the path of the gods through all these different initiations from these tantrikas and some of these more evolved women in those spaces, that the brotherhood disgusted me a little bit. Like I didn't even want anything to do with the men. I didn't even want anything to do with the conscious levels that they had, because it just couldn't fit into where I was in that moment. So over the years, I had lots of men getting upset with me. How come you're hanging out with all these women? Train me so I can hang out with other women. I'm like, dude, it's not hanging about with other women. It's not about sexualizing and trying to take something from them. It's about sitting and denying yourself them in order to educate yourself about the worlds that they're living in and the hardships that these women go through. And and the sexualizing in workplaces and through just it's it's a dynamic out there that needs to be shifted. So I didn't have time to sit back and say, hey man, like you guys need to grow up a little bit in these areas. So it's a year to 2020, and I just said I need to step into a more evolved role within myself, and I just need to stop hanging out with women. Like I need to stop training them. I need to stop educating them. And the sisterhoods needs to start congregating with each other. Because it was at a point where, women from all over the world are emailing me, Todd, hey, can you come to my workshop? Can you come here? Can you be the mantle, the container of this space? Hey, I'm a Dakini or DACA. Let's do work together. Hey, and it was getting really, it was too much. So I thought to myself, well, if I can get a bunch of solid brothers together and train them in some of these arts, then they can go help all of these women when they want help. Because we got to be mature enough here, Todd, to know that men can't do it on their own and women can't do it on their own. And the most intelligent men out there that have high levels of genius and sensuality within their being understand that they need a woman around them in order to create the realities that they want to create. A man's a damn fool if he thinks he can do it on his own. And if you have a woman that's opening up her womb to you and sharing herself around you, she needs to be respected and honored because she's the one putting the time in to build the man's reality. And now with the things being shifted, it's about man using his brain, his power from his living, from his staff to actually help create and build her reality. Yeah. But being able to maintain his masculinity through it by being that strong man.
Let me interject a couple things. Keep everybody involved.
Yeah, for sure.
One is I want to get to this a couple of comments by my friend from Norway, 5, 6, 7 years, Ingeborg Bang. And two, I just want to make a comment with the work that I do and the people I've been exposed to. This is a great time for this. And my perspective might be a little bit different in that the sisterhood is alive and well, and it's all over this world, and they're stepping out this year. They have a hell of a network, and they always have. It's just been hidden. But the brotherhood doesn't. Okay. And so this is a great time to bring something out like this, because I'm not going to say they don't need help, the sisters, but I'm going to tell you something. They got a tight network all around this world. I've seen it in the ethers and otherwise. Ingeborg, and I shared this sentiment for a long time. As divine light beings here amongst Earth, humanity, I'm an extraterrestrial being, androgynous in nature, existing within the balance of both divine, feminine, and masculine, where the wisdom of infinite intelligence can express itself through our radiant creativity and loving presence as love and light. This took me a long time to understand this, and I'm just bringing up this comment out of respect to my friend Ingeborg, and to represent every, across the spectrum. I felt the same way, and I still do, but it took me a long time to realize, and I, through conversations with Morgan, that there's a reason I'm in a man's body, and there's a reason you're in a man's body, and there's a reason we have a physical gender. It's part of the importance to, now that I can reassess everything, it's a major part of the importance of the integration of the physical and the non-physical. There's a reason we have a physical gender. No, we're not separate. I understand that, and I'm not debating. I'm just saying this is where I've come from, and I want to represent everything. So the thing is, at the end of the day, we're galactic, we're whatever we are, and we're androgynous, yes. But in this realm, this very important realm, we have gender roles, and there's a reason for that. And that's why what you're coming out with is such an important thing, because the divine feminine has been on the rise for 3+ years. And they're really spreading their wings like never before. The men are just starting to get there, and they got a lot of ground to make up, and they can make it up fast. But it's going to come from an open dialogue like this, and it is going to come from a lot of men speaking to men. So thank you for that. Thank you for allowing me to say that, and thank you for what you're doing. Keep going.
Well, the androgynous thing, the interesting thing, is you can either make love to a woman from a feminine side or a masculine side, and that's the real neat thing from these androgynous templates, is you can build your realities from either side, Todd.
Yeah.
And there's this network that you're talking about, the sisterhood. There's a very, very powerful network out there, and these women need mature men. They're very picky of who they bring into their circle, and even from a business perspective. So a lot of these business women want businessmen in their circles with the consciousness and the organic flow that they can bring. So men out there, if there's men that want to align to this path, if there's men that want to be involved in this path, the best bit of advice I can give is, what's your specialty? So my specialty in the templates within this body has always been business. So I've always been around Fortune 500 people. I've always been able to create, to manifest and generate my reality through lines of business. So regardless of raising the vibration of a woman's body, learning how to work with it properly, learning about the fluctuation in the waves within the hormonal system and her menstrual cycles, I was also helping these women build Fortune 500 companies. Helping these women with becoming the world's next top DJ, helping a woman building a holistic center, or winning mathematician contest, or a dance, or a ballerina, whatever these specific things that are going on. So if you're a man that is really good at one specific thing, then that's what you want to bring into your space. In my, just regardless of all the other experiences that I have. So yeah, pick something that you've excelled at within this material world, because the material world is what keeps us dense and is what keeps us alive. Scientifically, there's different organs and different systems within our body for a reason. So pick the thing that you're good at within the material world, and then when a woman comes to you, that's what you focus your reality around first. Because eventually the castles in the sky are going to come down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, what I'm seeing out there, because I mean, you've obviously been doing your thing for a long time. I mean, you've been flying around on magic carpets and rubbing genie lamps for a long time. But
baby.
The bulk of the men out there, seem to be fucking lost. And what I mean by that is like you're not at PhD level, you're some level up there, because you've been doing this for years and years. There, what I'm seeing out there is their struggle with what they identify themselves as, which is a block to the magic that they are, which is the path that this study, your life's work, which is a study of really of the divinity and of everything that goes with it. So how does that, I mean, is it when you talk to men now that you're starting to work with and seek the brotherhood out, do you have to start from scratch? I mean, are you saying, hey guys, you're not this you have to
start from scratch, dude. You have to start from scratch. Number one rule is we're to be walking in reverenceness and sacredness on the earth. Yeah. So the first thing is, do you feel the earth when you're walking on it? Because if you're not connected to the earth and walking in sacredness and reverence with life and nature and all things, I can't even start a conversation. Because that's the most necessary thing that we all need to be focusing on. And whenever I have these awakenings or these energetic shifts within my body, or connecting to someone that I love very much, physically, intimately, that energy is being used as a battery to continually emit to the earth. So it's scientifically proven, because I used to be one of those PhD guys, Todd. Scientifically proven in the field of medicine, from a grounded perspective, that the brain, and the whole body's the brain, just not the thing in our head, cannot multitask. Yeah. It's only doing one set of functions at a time. So the body doesn't multitask. It's doing everything step by step. The reason why it may seem like everything's happening all at once is because of the speed of it. So if I talk to someone and I say 1 + 1 is 2, and that person puts their hand up and says, well, it's 3, there's no sense, because you need to go 1 + 1 is 2, then it's 3, then it's 4, and you need to uncover each stone. You need to take a swim in the water. You need to breathe the fresh air. You need to connect to the animal kingdom, and you need to be totally present for the matrix, which is nature. Everyone's unplugged out of the matrix because they're in technoland. So you need to have, it's the opposite way around, dude. So you need to have that connection to nature before you can even have an understanding of a woman's body, because a woman's body is the most complex natural organism from a scientific perspective that's walking around on this planet. They create life. Yeah. They're walking miracles. Like, why are we wasting our time researching and putting money in our evolution when there's living miracles walking around us every single day?
To include a man. And if you can't appreciate nature, how are you going to appreciate your own body, which is an incredible physical and non-physical Merkaba.
And our body came out of a woman.
You know, if a man, you know, but if a man, it's one thing it took me a while, my path to understand the universe, the universal portals, the universe that a woman's body is. But what about my body? Mm-hmm. A man, we all need to look first where we've looked last. And I think the men have had it. We started to do some shows on this. Men have had a different trip, obviously. We don't even know what the hell's happening here. We're putting the pieces together here. But loving, honoring, revering a woman is an incredible thing, and we are the key into that door to unlock into the universe and all its gifts through that incredible universal.
Unlock into your physical body, Todd.
Yeah, exactly.
When I have a very strong woman around me, and her ankh, her aura starts to vibrate, I got muscles coming up on top of muscles I've never seen before. Because, I came full circle. So my first part was working with women and growing etherically, multidimensionally, creating platforms of cosmic templates. Now it's like all that energy, because in preparation for 2020, all that energy is coming down within my physical body, and I'm getting strong, dude. Like, superhuman strength I've been starting to experience in calisthenics, working out. Like, I put on 10 pounds of muscle in the past 3 months. So physically, when the man wants to get to know his body, it's about understanding it physically also. Understanding, isometrics, holding positions, putting our body in difficult positions, standing in one place for a long period of time. But physical culture, embodied movement is very important for everybody, but specifically men, and especially with me moving into my 50s soon, testosterone is very important. Testosterone, dopamine levels, HGH, human growth hormone levels, as soon as they start to deplete within our body, we're not going to be able to support a woman, because you can't support a woman with low testosterone levels. It's a fucking mess. She's going to be busy changing your diapers half the day because your emotions are just going to be, you know, you smile at that, man. No, I'm going to go masturbate in my bed tonight. Whatever. You know what I mean? So when your testosterone levels are high and the human growth hormones are high, and you're able to cope with women in reality a little bit more. And that comes from intermittent fasting, you know, to take time from eatings in the morning, to take times from eating before you go to bed, strength training regimes to keep all that energy up within your body. Yoga is one thing. You gotta have both. You gotta have the yoga and the strength.
You know, you're not going to get an argument from me. But beneath all that, if the man doesn't have a clear understanding of his divinity and what he really is, if he's not emotionally healthy, if he's not in the right frame of mind, if he's not on the path of clearing the shadows, if he's not reached a certain point, none of that shit matters, because the body itself is run off the thoughts that we put out. We're more than physical. And all I'm trying to say is, I think that's why I asked the question about where do you start with these guys, because, and I'm not saying I'm a master or anything. I'm just saying there's a lot of men out there who see she's busting the move and they're freaking out. Okay? Because energetically they see what she's doing. They understand that she needs something more from him. And we're talking energy. But the thing is, they're a bit lost. So this stuff is extremely important. I just think that they're collectively we're at a point where we're still trying to grasp what our power really is. We're sitting here in awe of the feminine when we're missing the boat, you know, and not revering and honoring, respecting and loving and understanding who we are, what we're really a part of, representing this masculine energy on the earth for a reason in an incarnated body. You know,
You said it, body, Todd. The most important, you said it, the body. The body is the most important structure. Mm-hmm. You cannot have a spiritual experience unless you're in a body. You cannot talk about fifth dimensional consciousness and Sirians, Nocturians in 360-degree tectonic plate surfing through the cosmos unless you're in a physical body. You can't access Mundi points and fire the grid unless you have a physical body. The stronger the physical body, the more multidimensional guides that come through you. And there would be a lot of people that would say, no, it's not required. But you have to be an idiot to think that, because you're living in a body.
Yeah.
And when this physical body is optimal and running properly, then you can accomplish everything that you possibly want. Women need strong men, dude. They need to feel safe. And I'm not talking safe from a feminist approach. I have no problem with the feminist approach, but I'm talking about grounded values, core strength, roles between a man and a woman, roles between testicles and ovaries, roles between 3 hormone systems, 1 hormone system, roles between creating a child and seeding a child.
Yeah.
And all this stuff is happening physically. It starts from an energetic standpoint. The ancients knew this. Everything started from tone. The only reason why colors in this experience exist is because of sound. But when that sound hits the prism, and that prism is the aura around this earth, it creates color. Then those colors create our environment around us. The physical body is the second-hand interpreter of everything. Firsthand experience is coming from your neurological system. Then we created language in order to interpretate what's going on within the neurological system so we can have an experience within this reality with it. Everything that we're experiencing here is secondhand. You can't have a firsthand experience with anything, Todd. The body's having the firsthand experience. If we want to be men and really learn about things, you have to start from the body and build yourself up from there. A lot of people within spiritual development, the New Age movement, all these different degrees of thought forms and philosophy, if it's not grounded within the body, it's going to get sloppy. The stronger the body is, the more dense that your reality becomes, and the more that multidimensional experience becomes compartmentalized, and the easier it is for your body, which is your cache, your library, to sort that information out. The body has a natural sorting facility. It's like a post office. So what happens is all the information goes to the post office. The post office sorts all the letters out. Then the post office gives a letter to the mailman. The mailman takes that letter, puts it in the mailbox, you open up your letter, and then you're like, fuck, what do I do with this? But it all starts from the body of the postal system. That's the easiest way to describe it. When you let your physical body naturally sort the information out, then the whole cosmos opens up to you in a totally different and unique way. Now, a lot of spiritual men that are walking this path are afraid of that because they're afraid to do push-ups. They could be afraid to do sit-ups because it hurts. They could be afraid to activate those 144,000 send lines and naughty lines that are existing within the body that connect with the 144,000 ascended masters that are living in the galactics. You know what I mean? So the more, and if you look at some of the most powerful men and some of the best philosophers out there through time, they all had very strong bodies. Osiris was strong. Horus was strong. Jesus was strong. John the Baptist was strong. These guys ate crickets and honey all day. You look at time on how the archetype of these people were, the most powerful, strongest people, they had strong bodies, dude. So we have to recognize that we have to actually perfect the physical aspects and beautify our body just as much as we're perfecting and beautifying our multidimensional reality. Do you know how hot it is when a woman's sitting in front of a six-pack and a chest and a set of arms talking about this type of stuff? They're leaking all over the place most of the time. And it's nice to hold that space and give them that environment too, because a lot of women deep down inside are accustomed to that. But doing it from a conscious level. It's just different displays of information. And when you follow the beauty and information, it's not going to lead you to an ugly place. And I'm just talking about information.
Yeah.
You have McDonald's information to the drive-through, or you have a bowl of rice and chickpeas from India. You know what I mean? It depends which spectrum that you want to go into. And men, when we're putting this stuff in our body, you have to realize most of the stuff that's put in the food and the preservatives is specifically put in there to lower men's testosterone. Dude, I researched the shit out of this, man. I put 10 years research just in testosterone levels and male hormone levels. All of it was depleted from the foods that we consumed. It's serious stuff, man.
I know you did. I know you did. I don't live in that world. I'm being honest with you. I don't believe that the world has that type of power over me. I don't believe that. And I don't want to get off on that subject. So I totally get what you're saying, and I just don't buy into it. I don't buy into GMOs. I don't buy into fluoride. I don't buy any of that bullshit because I am not just a human being. Now, what I was getting at is that regardless, and I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I've seen my body change. I'm 57 years old. I'm in the best shape of my life, and I shouldn't be. You know, I mean, not by aging standards, but the thing is, much of that has to do with the transformation of my DNA. You know, of my molecular structure due to things that are non-physical and physical. All right. Yes. Now, there's a lot of men out there who are struggling who need this bridge, because regardless of what they do for their body and the belief system behind it, because we know that's powerful, the thoughts behind what they're doing and why they're doing it, whether they're exercising or eating the right thing or whatever the case is. But there are these huge shadows on their souls that have to do with the male experience that I'm going to say every fucking one of them, including me and you, is blind to. Every single one of them has a blind spot in regard to what a man is. And until they're stripped down and everything is taken away that they believe in regard to their role, it's a moot point. Because we are not that. We have had a different trip, and it's just my perspective. It's just my perspective. I've not met a man who doesn't have a blind spot, including me. And what I'm seeing these guys struggle with, and I love these brothers coming out, talking the real shit and saying, I'm fucked up. I thought I was supposed to be a performer in the bedroom and at the workplace. I thought I was supposed to be a protector and a provider. And all that shit is what needs to be clear, in my opinion, before they can even proceed going on down the road. Not to say that exercising or this or that isn't going to help them, because it does, because they helped me. They helped me to walk for 2 years when I woke up 7 or 8 years ago. But I just see these guys hurting out there. I don't have the answer. But I do think that part of it has to be addressed along with everything else, because they're collectively lost. And there's no doubt that they can move very quickly, because she's moved as far as she has and has put it out there.
You can move very quickly, but you have to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice pornography. You have to stop looking at the posters on the wall. You have to stop looking at the women in the high heels. You have to stop looking at the women in the makeup. You have to stop looking at the diamonds and the gold that they're wearing on their body. You literally have to put yourself into a space where you say, I choose not to watch any type of subliminal program coming from the external environment that's going to put me into a space when I go home to my partner at the end of the night, well, I'm wondering out, how come she's not porn? It's very important, Todd.
I totally, well, let's even take it.
Let's need to stop watching that stuff in the first place.
Yeah, let's just paint it with one big brush stroke, okay? And say they're not there for your pleasure. They're not there to serve you. And because what's happening is we have these patterns deep beneath us where we think we're doing something for them when we're really trying to get something from them. Okay, exactly. So these things are really deep. You know, the porn is just a superficial symptom of a deep problem. So this is where I see them struggling. I see these guys talking about, hey man, I go on a date and here's what I'm faced with. It's them, it's not me. It's time for the men to say it's me, it's not them.
Exactly.
So whatever problem I'm having with them, okay, it's me. There's something in me that in my field that's active or that I'm not aware of. And I think that's where they're at. You know, the other thing is these women for all through the years, you know, even through the suppression and the witch burnings and all that stuff, they always had the sisterhood. They always had this emotional network. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. A woman walks into a locker room at a health club. She knows two women and 8 of them she doesn't know. She says, hey, I got a problem with my guy. All of them are there. They're all there. Okay, what can we do? You know, the network is there. A guy hasn't been able to do that. A guy doesn't walk in a locker room at a health club and say, I'm having a problem at home. And you know, they're all going to look at him like, that's your fucking problem. What's your problem? You know, man up. You know, you're but I'm just trying to say, that feminine part of the man, that goddess part within the physical incarnated man, for the most part, I'm not speaking across the board, but in general, that's the part where the emotional, mental well-being quotient can rise from discussing just like this, from just having a direct, honest discussion. We don't know all the answers, but let's put it out there. This is what's been suppressed in a man, as a woman was suppressed in her power. The man was suppressed with, hey, you can't talk about it. I got to be Billy Badass and all that other shit, right?
Yeah.
I think this is what I'm seeing, and so I'd like to see some discourse on that. I'd like to see, how the fuck do you break out of that? I don't have the answer, but I'm seeing these guys hurrying. I see them stepping up, and I'm seeing them wanting to do that. And I'm all for, the physical and all that. I absolutely 100%. And you've been doing this for years and years and years. I mean, but I just see a lot of guys out there that they're struggling with who they are, and if you don't know who you are, you can go out and run a fucking marathon every other week, and it ain't going to matter. You're still going to be lost in the woods. So I really admire what you're doing, your work, and I love the fact that you're shifting to focus on assisting men, because we need it.
Yeah, I found that when I made that conscious decision to do that, that men started to notice me more, right? So they started to, where before it was women noticing me, now it's men noticing more. Men are walking up to me, and it's interesting when a man looks at you with admiration, how the energy flows within the body differently than a woman would look at me with admiration.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to know the differences of those things now. And before, I still do. I still support women, and I would rather support one because it's a heck of a lot easier than supporting many. But when you pay a woman a compliment, a sincere compliment, just out of noticing something in the environment that she's contributing and doing something, you pay that same type of compliment to a guy, the Ka energy within your body works the same way. And I said this to you before, Todd, we have two snakes. We have a masculine snake, we have a feminine snake. We have the Kundalini and we have the Kundalina. When you can walk up to a man and go, wow, this man's beautiful. This is a solid brother. You can pay him a compliment. That man receives it. He likes it. There's exchange of energy going in between. Now those snakes are a lot more balanced. And it's about recognizing men and your brothers in the same way that you would recognize a woman, even though if you're gender specific and you'd rather be with a woman, you can still have that loving, compassionate space for a man at the same time and appreciate the man. And one of the things I learned, if you're lighting up your staff, if I'm raising my doc, or how our brother Jim Morrison, we're both huge fans of him, Mojo Rising, right? You have to make sure, keep your mojo rising, rising, rising. You have to make sure that you're doing that for the guys too. Because what I found out when I wasn't doing that, us as men get very jealous in that area. Women get jealous in a different area. So when they're not getting the admiration and attention the same way that I would be giving it to a woman. So what I started to do is, wow, you look fantastic. Holy smokes, that's an amazing poem that you just read. Wow, dude, you're losing a lot of weight. Your body's looking really good. Congratulations on whatever. And then you give them some of that too. Then the jealousy comes down a little bit, and then you have more room for a level playing field. So I found, by working with the tantrikas and priestesses and being in that world for the past 15 years, which I'm truly grateful, Todd, because if it wasn't for those sisters molding me like a piece of clay, I would not be the man that I am today. Yeah. And I really hope that sisterhood rises where it gets to, because they deserve it. And now that I'm working within this field of a healthy patriarchal system, which is still going to be able to support the matriarchal system, that molding and everything that I experienced, I want to impart some of that. And I want to be able to share some of these things because it's lonely out there, Todd. And I want to have a solid group and a solid network and a solid team of brothers that share similar interests, but still have their balls.
Yeah. After they got them cut off.
Yeah, I need to
cut the old balls off. Cut the old balls off.
I need to have alpha. I need to have alpha around me. I need to have strong men around me. I need to have conscious men around me. I need men that can talk about philosophy, multidimensional realities. I need men around me that can dance. Just the full spectrum of it. I don't have time to usher anything else but that. That's not my role. I'm waiting here after that man goes through that role. There's different levels. There's people that are going to be helping the man through his addictions, through alcohol abuse, through substance abuse. That's a role. And then after they get out of that, there's another role. How do you start building healthy addictions in your life? The role I want to be in for myself personally is when a man's already evolved through those wavelengths, because that's where I am. I can't go through a step-down process. I can't go through a step-down process and hold someone's hands through their addictions. That's for someone else to do. We all have to honor our roles and where we are. That's like asking,
but you know, we can go on forever. So,
there's certain people are assigned certain roles and they're assigned certain positions of duty.
Well, a mission is a mission. So whatever your calling is, you honor your calling. There's no doubt. Totally. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. I'm sure we'll get together, you know, in the future, next few weeks or whatever, and see where this goes. I'm interested. Are you going to stay in Quebec?
I'm not going back to Romania.
No.
I decided when I made a decision not to revolve within that matriarchal system as a pillar within that community. That's when my decision was made not to go back to Romania and stay here in Canada. So I'm here. Where are you, in Hawaii still? Where are you?
I'm in Kauai. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hanging on by what is it? Hanging on by threads. But everything's a magic in the miracle and the magic in the moment, and I'm going to keep running with it. When I got to run now, we have. Hang on for a second. Let me get my. So this is this is great. So you're going to be focusing on the brotherhood, and I think that's very much needed.
One spectrum of the brotherhood, because there's many spectrums and levels. Like one hue, one color is where I want to be, because I can't go into another hue or frequency at this moment. I need to hold a specific vision, and if people want to align to that vision, I'm open to talk more about it.
Very cool. We've got Shakara Tasha from Sedona coming on in a couple hours. And then we have Dwayne Hartman, one of your countrymen over there. I think he's Mountain Time in Canada. And he's been around a long, long time and came recommended. I don't know. I know he's been doing work for a long, long time. We'll get together again soon. So you just try to stay warm over there. And if you go outside, make sure you put some moccasins on.
Cool, Todd.
All right, you take care, brother.
Peace,
Thank you for what you do.
Good talking to you, man. Ciao, ciao.
All right, man. You take care.
Thanks, Todd.